So, as you've probably heard by now, the G3's power and volume buttons aren't on the sides of the phone, and they're not up top either. Instead, they're on the back of the phone, which kind of makes you wonder, is LG onto something that no other manufacturer has seemed to notice, or are rear buttons just another gimmick? Well, we'll find out in a sec, but before we do, I want to tell you about the sponsor for today's episode in Simple Mobile. Founded on the idea that your phone is an extension of your own personal freedom, Simple Mobile has a great way of doing wireless. Joining Simple is easy. Just use your own GSM phone, purchase a Simple Mobile SIM card, activate one of Simple Mobile's unlimited plans, and then follow the easy process to set it up on your phone. It's, well, simple. If you want to learn more about how to save money on your phone bill by joining Simple Mobile, click over here or on the first link in the description below. Save yourself some of that hard-earned cash and help support the channel at the same time. Alright, let's get right into it. So, based off the title, you guys know that I obviously don't think rear buttons are a gimmick. In fact, it's actually the opposite. I think they're awesome and I have 5 reasons to back it up. The first is they're really easy to reach. The G3 with its 5.5-inch display is obviously a big phone, yet almost everybody I've handed it to has had no problems reaching the buttons. On top of that, the buttons are also ambidextrous, with them being just as easy to use with your left hand as they are with your right. Reason number 2 is somewhat related, but has to do specifically with when you're on a phone call. Normally, if you want to adjust the volume in call, you have to feel around for the volume rocker and sometimes even pull the phone away from your ear in order to do so. On the G3, you don't have to worry about any of that, as your finger naturally rests on the rear buttons, allowing you to change the volume both quickly and easily. The third reason why I'm loving this rear button setup is how you can use the buttons even when the phone is inside of your pocket. If you're getting a phone call, for example, you can silence it by pressing one of the volume buttons. If you're listening to music, it's the same story. Sure, you can technically do the same with a traditional button layout, but with rear keys, you only need one finger compared to having to pinch your phone with 2 or more. If that is, you can actually figure out where those buttons are in the first place. Reason number 4 is one that I hate to bring up, but I've got to do it, and that's taking selfies. Taking a selfie using the on-screen shutter or side buttons can shake the phone, which results in blurry pictures. On the G3, because the volume button is where your finger naturally rests, you can take a selfie while holding the phone steady every time. Finally, the 5th reason why I think rear buttons are awesome is they make it a lot easier to take a screenshot. As you may or may not know, to take a screenshot on Android, you need to press the volume down and power buttons simultaneously. On the G3, those buttons are right next to each other, which means that you can press both of them at the same time with the same finger. In other words, you can take one-handed screenshots. Of course, while all these benefits are great, there are some drawbacks. One of the major ones is you can't access the buttons when the phone is lying on its back. However, LG has done a pretty good job at minimizing this with knock-on, but it's still something worth noting. The other drawback isn't really a drawback so much as it is a change in that the rear buttons do take some getting used to. For me, it was kind of weird at first, but after a day or so, it started to feel just as natural as buttons on any other phone. Last thing I want to mention before I head out of here is the indirect benefit that rear buttons bring to the table, which are thinner bezels. Look at the G2 and now the G3, and they easily have some of the thinnest bezels around. That's why the G3 can have a screen that's almost half an inch bigger than the Galaxy S5's while maintaining the overall same footprint. I don't know about you, but that benefit in and of itself makes rear buttons worth it for me. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. But other than that, that is pretty much it for me in this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the very next episode.